In this video, we will Dockerize a sample node.js app and deploy the app using Azure Container Instance. For demo, I have chosen this note taker app which allows user to take notes. We will first run this application locally and with and without Docker. Then we will deploy this app using Azure Container Instance and enable any user to use our note taker application. Follow through this video, you need to install Git. You need to install Docker. Make sure that you have both Docker engine and Docker client installed on your machine. So you see I have Docker engine and a Docker client and the server both. And also you need to install Node, and you can use any editor you want. For this tutorial I'm using VS Code. To run this application we'll do node server.js. It's saying it's listening on port 3000. We'll go and check. Go to localhost 3000 and see what's happening. There you go. Your note taker app is up and running. Let's go to get started and take a demo. Note. Let's save this. Try refreshing. This is there. Let's add another note. Save it. Let's delete the old note. So the server is working as expected. What we have to do is now Dockerize this application and deploy it using Docker. To Dockerize this application, first thing you need is a Docker file. Docker file contains the instructions which Docker can execute, and then at the end build you an image which can be run by using Docker client. So that's a very crude way of saying how we'll create an image. I will dig deeper through various videos and a bit of about Docker during the tutorial itself. Let's add a new file, Docker file. So first we will take a base image on which we will add our changes. So for this I'm using a base image node 10 because it's our node application, so we need an image with node is already installed. Then we'll set a working directory, uh, and working directory is the directory inside an image where we put our executable codes and we'll execute from this path. Then for we will install all the dependencies in node. We specify all the dependency in package.json. So we have package.json where we have all the dependency installed, and we will install those dependencies. Then we'll copy our application to the working directory which we specified above. There you go. And then we'll say we are exposing port 3000 because node is using 3000. We can expose port 80, and this application will start using port 80 because if you look into the server code there, if you see, let's look for port. So it takes the port number from the environment variable or it defaults to 3000. So we will be setting port number as 80 in the environment variable so we'll put the environment of port as 80 while executing using Docker. And then final, the command which needs to be executed, node server.js. Now let's build the image. We'll try to build this image, build a Docker image. So the command is docker build -t. Then since I will be pushing this to Docker Hub, so I have to use my Docker Hub ID, which is Rockjitan, and then I will be putting my image name. This is application name, node node taker app and one. So, and then the build context. The context right now is the current folder, which has the Docker file. So it will pick up the Docker file. It will get the Docker file from the current folder. So I don't have to specify the Docker file here. If my build context and the path to Docker file is different, then I have to specify Docker file path also. But here, let's keep it simple. So let's break this down. So this is my Docker Hub ID. This is the name of the application, and this is tag, which in a way is a version. So in my next edit, if I do my next edit to this application, I'll push a new Docker image with tag 2, 3, 4 subsequently. So that's how I will do versioning. So let's try and build this image. So the image is now built. Let's see the list of images on my machine. So you can see I have two images, Docker Node App 1 and sorry, it's Node 10 and Rockjitan Node Taker App 1. Let's run this image which we just created. So to run this image, we'll use the docker run command. So it's docker run. Then this is -p for port. What we're saying is that uh, on the host machine, port 3000 is redirect to 80. In further videos, I will be digging into Docker networks, where we will understand how you can bind two images using Docker networking. Then right now, let's keep this video simple and just let's understand that it is just redirection of port. Then this environment variable which we are setting on the container. So inside a container, we're setting an environment variable. It's similar to setting a variable on your machine. It's setting port as 80. So if we check the environment inside this container, it will be 80. Port will be 80. And then this is the image name which we just built. Now just execute it. So you can see is saying listening to port 80. So the application running on port 80, but since we have redirected the port, we'll use port number 3000 to reach this service. Now we'll go and try and see how is our node taker app working. Let's try. Localhost 3000. Voila, it's working. So what I was saying that even though the service is running on port 80, we are accessing it through port 3000. This is possible through Docker networking. Now let's for explanation, let's port 80. It's not working, right? So that's what I was telling. Now that we have an image, let's push this image to Docker Hub so that we can use it in Azure container instance. So let's push this image. So I will be using Docker push. There you go. It's getting pushed. So this is my Docker app, node taker app, and you can see an image with tag 1 has just been pushed into it a few seconds back. So I have built the image, ran this application locally, checked it's working, I pushed it to Docker Hub. Now I'm all set to use Azure Container Instance to host this application. So we'll be going to Azure portal and try to create a container instance using this Docker image. We are in Azure portal, so you can look for container instance, and we will add a new instance. So let's select a resource group. Let's name it as node taker app. Let's host in East US. So I'm hosting in East US region because we can use this application, my target customer is closer to East US region. So in more videos which I will be creating, I will be showing how can you use have a same URL and cater to multiple region, and how you will be able to scale your applications so that it's your performance is good for all the region. It's like it's you want your application to be accessible by customers irrespective of which region it is. But for this video, we are deploying this application in East US. So our source of the image, you can use Azure Container Instance, but right now we are using Docker Hub. So it's public. Let's put this image. Let's check if everything is right. Note taker app, tag 1, note taker app, tag base image is Linux. Let's validate networking. I want it public. Let's put the domain name, taker app. It's available. Good. We are lucky. We want to export port 80, TCP port. That's yes. So to add one, I want an environment variable for container port, and it's 80. Good. Things look good. Let's create it. Validation pass. Let's create it. Let's wait for this creation to complete. Its deployment has started. It will take like 30 to 40 seconds to complete. Let's wait for that.